This is a point that's going to frustrate some people because I think sometimes we hear this and think like it's something that's out of our control, which is incorrect. But the advice today is actually to be likable, which, again, some people hear that and they're just kind of like, well, that's not fair, because they think that they're inborn a certain way. Like some people are tall and some people are short. And that's just not how it works at all, right? Likable is something that's in all of our control. It has to do with factors about how we choose to carry ourselves. And it's not even necessarily the same all the time as skilled at a field or professional in how you conduct yourself or otherwise. It's just about being friendly, about being open, about being excited about things. And this is something that, like a lot of the videos lately, obviously it applies to business, it applies to game development. Sure as heck, I'd better believe it just applies to not being frustrated in your day-to-day life. And again, it's something which is in our control to a degree which some people haven't yet come to terms with accepting they can do something about. One of my favorite stories that relates to this is at Indiecade, we had Christy Stoll come out to visit. Might have heard me share the story before because it's one of my favorites. And Christy Stoll's, when I first got my internship 12 years ago at EA, she was the head of the recruitment over there for Electronic Arts. And the time since has been the head of recruitment worldwide for Activision Blizzard. And then more recently, I think for Sony, game industry side, but Sony worldwide. And her advice was partly this message, and part of her presentation at Indiecade had to do with be likable. That there was a case where they had like 7 or 8 different applicants come to them for a job. And the team interviewed those people after she had filtered their resumes and brought the people in. And they were like, oh man, we really want Jimmy, or whatever the guy's name is, or the gals, whoever it might have been. And she was like, but he's like the least qualified person who applied. Like he's the least, this is an animation job and he's the least capable animator. And the response was basically like, Christy, let us have him. We want to be around that person every day, in a way they didn't necessarily connect with in the same way as other people. And we got to remember, every job we have, every gig we get, every relationship we're in, every connection we build, whatever it is, every partnership we make, partly it's a question of, do I actually want to be around this person consistently? Do I want to talk to them weekly? Do I want to talk to them every day? Do I want to see them once a month? Whatever frequency it's at, that's one of the factors that we're always gauging for. And that is, again, up to elements that are under control. And this isn't about fakery. This isn't about pretending to be somebody or not. It's about being willing to be the side that takes action to start that. I think sometimes we get in these really negative and destructive cycles where I feel like the world's been rude to us. And sometimes it's a misinterpretation, right? It's something that was out of anybody's control. Something happens in our lives. And sometimes it can be a totally valid, unfortunate, traumatic experience. And this is not, again, like I say, I'm not a psychologist. I can't try to say this is, there are super complex problems that this does not apply to. But for most of the ups and downs and bumps in our everyday lives, for most people, most circumstances, right, something negative happens to us and we begin to feel kind of bitter from it. We got that kind of now as baggage we carry as to that thing where someone close to us passed away, some sort of illness we might have gone through, some sort of thing in our lives that felt not fair, and we begin to let that put an edge on us. And what begins to happen is, we have an edge on us. Now other people find us kind of abrasive. Other people find us kind of negative. Other people find us kind of frank, kind of unfriendly. So they start feeding that back to us like a mirror. And sure enough, now we start to feel like, well, now people aren't nice to us. Now we can't seem to get a job anywhere. No one's going to be nice to us. No one's giving us a shot. No one's letting us engage in conversations at networking events. And the reality is, it started from our side echoing that, or sending that out, and then echoing it back. And this expectation of, well, I'm not going to change until everybody else changes and they're nice to me. When I phrase it that way, hopefully it's clear how unrealistic that is. That, well, I'm just going to wait for 7 billion people to change before I change. The people I don't control, I'm going to wait for them to change before the one person I am in control of initiates that change. Right? You're the only person you get to decide how outgoing or how open they are to these things. To acting friendly, to being open to things, to smiling, as simple as that sounds. To wanting to run with ideas, to being passionate about things. And again, it can feel like, I lost that, or can feel like, where'd that go? Or can feel like some people have it or don't. And it really both isn't the case in terms of that's something that you can develop. It's like a skill, like bravery, like being able to use Maya, like being able to code C++. It's a skill to figure out how can I come across in a more positive way. And again, it's not about pretending to be someone you're not. There's every person is complex with all kinds of dimensions, all kinds of elements to them, all kinds of experiences, all kinds of backstory that could or couldn't justify things by. But it's looking for how can we make the best out of whatever situation we've got, right? How can we do the best we can with whatever reality we are in terms of being able to move it forward? And that's going to come from making sure that you're having opportunities, in part from, they're not, at the very least, they're not going to reject you based on not being likable enough. There was this old standard we used to have in some of our club groups where even if someone was otherwise qualified, they'd call it the stop, drop, and roll rule, which sounds like, you know, someone catches on fire, stop, drop, and roll. What their example actually had to do with was if you and some other people in the group are going out to lunch and you're passing by this other person, do you try to sneak past them without them finding out that you're going to lunch, right? Because if they fail that test, then it doesn't matter what other qualifications they might have to be in that group, because you don't want to go to lunch with them. Or at the very least, that opens up the discussion of why is that? And maybe some reasons are more acceptable than others, but it's a chance to say, or do you go out of your way to find them? You're like, hey, we're going out for lunch. Oh man, can someone find Tim? Can someone find Jen? Whoever it might be, because we want to go out and have them with us. We like being around those people. They bring out the best in us. They're encouraging. They're supportive, right? And again, this is a different axis than, are they hyper skilled in their area? Do they achieve certain kinds of results? Now, hopefully those two are not in conflict with each other. I think sometimes the other effect we have, right, is occasionally TV, which as a reminder is completely artificial, complete fiction, right? Including reality shows. You know, that stuff's all scripted, right? What happens, right, is they'll have people, and if they're the one who's super friendly, they also make them an idiot, as though you can't be nice and good at what you do. And I think that reinforces in our mind this totally, just like I say, fictional idea, misplaced reality, that you're either good at what you do and a jerk, like House, or you're bad at what you do and friendly, like you name it. Every show's got the dummy, right? I mean, Friends, it was like Joey or whoever. It's the person who's really friendly and outgoing, but just is not there, right? And no, those are not in conflict with each other at all. You can absolutely be a positive, friendly, encouraging person people like to be around, and go out of your way to make it, to improve at that, to wherever you're at. Keep leveling up at that, paying attention to what do people respond well to, what do people respond negatively to, and again, just sort of developing that area, separate from, in parallel to, improving at the actual skills that also are needed on the job, because yeah, those of course happen. And again, it's not just about positivity and being outgoing and being likable as a thing to pay attention to. Can lead to new opportunities, can lead to networking connections, can lead to introductions. It's also that going too far the other direction, like when I talked about the other video, talking about talking. You go too far the other direction, people won't hire you, like the stop, drop, and roll rule. Won't work with you, won't partner with you, won't continue a conversation, won't introduce you, simply because they don't want to connect you or someone or to themselves the kind of negativity that you're just exuding unnecessarily, unproductively. It doesn't, there's this super, and again, it kind of feeds back into the Hollywood fiction about smart people being cynical. Smart people aren't cynical. Cynical is lazy, right? And I'm a person who, like, inherently, I've got some skepticism towards things. I'm very deeply grounded in scientific and reality and things that are practical and whatever. But cynicism is basically admitting defeat, that there are things that we are hopeless to do anything about, and that we're going to focus our energy unproductively on those. Smart people don't do that. That's not what smart people do with their energy and time. It's not where smart people put their skills, because that's a waste of skills. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of time, right? If there's something that you think you can't do something about, then the smart person's answer is, what can I do to move myself forward on being able to do something about that? Or on at least doing something I can do something about. So I think I'm starting to diverge into a different topic. That might be a video for another day. But anyway, you know, be likable. It's not artificial. It's not fake. It's not bad. It doesn't make you a dummy. It doesn't make you a ditz. It doesn't do any of those kind of things. It's a valuable part of being able to advance in your career, advance in your network, advance in your skills, collaborate, build bigger projects than you can ever achieve alone in less time than it would take you if you did it, if you attempted it alone, better results than you could if you tried to do it alone, because people are just going to want to be around, be working with, be involved with, partner with, listen to, go to, train with, whatever it is. If you pay attention to, like, you know what, likability is a skill that's worth developing. And it's not as ingrained or inborn as it seems or sometimes sounds. It's also not contradictory at all to intelligence or actual ability. So that's it for the day. I want to thank you for following along. As always, if you haven't subscribed, the subscription is helpful. I appreciate it. Makes a difference for me, as well as the likes or thumbs up. I'll have another video for you all tomorrow. Bye for now.